Welcome to Per Her Perspective, a podcast of raw, relatable conversations on leadership, challenges, and solutions in running a business, often with the support of smart peers. The show inspires business owners to grow, make bold decisions, and go bigger with confidence. I'm your host, Marla Noel. Let's get started. Welcome. My name is Marla Noel with Per Her Perspective. And today I'm talking to Becky Robbins, who's a chapter chair for Northern Colorado and Houston, Texas. Don't ask me how she ends up in two places at once. Becky is the founder of a consulting practice, which she sold and then participated in as a senior consultant partner for a large consulting practice where she consulted with very large companies all over the world. Welcome, Becky, to Per Her Perspective.
Thank you, Marla.
I'm so glad you could be here with me. And we had some trials and tribulations with microphones, and it was all my fault. We got it fixed, though. So,
That happens. We got it fixed.
yeah. Becky, I know you have a very interesting and unique upbringing. Growing up, what drove you to being an entrepreneur?
What drove me to be an entrepreneur was I was from a large family. I'm the oldest of 8, and we were a poor Catholic family. So I ended up going to a private school where I worked in the convent to help pay for my tuition. And all the girls that went to the school were wealthy, and I was not. And I just thought, I'm not going to be like this. This isn't the person I'm going to be. I started working at a very young age to make money.
Uh, and that's very hard. So what kind of work did you do at that young age?
Oh my God. I cleaned houses, babysat, organized people's closets, worked in the convent, just whatever I could do. I flipped hamburgers. I was never a waitress, but worked in a hamburger place.
That is a true entrepreneur. I mean, you just named, I think, 5 different things. That gives you a wealth of experience about a lot of different industries, really, from a different perspective. What is one thing that you think you could have done differently then?
I don't know. I just did whatever I could do. I ran away from home when I was 15 and got a live-in babysitting job, and then lived with a family where I helped take care of. The woman was in a wheelchair, and my best friend, it was her mother, and I helped take care of her. And, I don't know what I could have done. I was a kid. So I could have done something. I got pregnant at 18. I could have maybe not done that. But I don't regret it at all.
Yeah. So
I have my son.
how old is that person now?
He's 56.
That's incredible. And
Yeah,
I think you told me once that you had a mentor that was a very strong influence in your life. Who was
I did.
who was that person and what did
Her name is her name's Irene Hunter. She's no longer living. But when I was 22, I think I was married, I had babies, and, I did not know myself at all at that age. I don't think any of us really do, but I really wanted a better life than what I had and what my parents had. My parents did the best they could, but I really wanted to have everything, the house, the husband, the family, the job, everything. And so I met her, and I went to a little course that she led called The Real You. And I discovered that a couple of things. One, I wasn't stuck with what seemed like the obvious outcome, what was going to happen anyway. I wasn't stuck with that, and that I could really create my own life. And for years, I worked with her as I started building my business, and I got into real estate and really learned a lot from her, got loads of confidence from her. And I think I stopped working with her. Well, I don't know. Many years I worked with her, but I've done lots of other things, but she was a huge influence in my life.
And do you find yourself doing that same type of thing for young ladies now today since you had somebody do that for you?
Well, yes, my whole life has been about, even in WPO, my whole life's been about supporting people to have their dreams fulfilled. I actually have a purpose in my life, and that's it. My purpose is to help people, not help people, is that for everybody um, finds a way or learns what they need to learn to fulfill their dreams. Not that they always do, but that they can, and they have the tools that they can.
Yeah, yeah. That's really a strong mission. And I know you have made an impact on other people because I've talked to some of your WPO members and they feel your love. That's so impressive. I know you had a lot of years of consulting for some pretty large companies. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, I started with small businesses, started working with them. I was a seminar leader for a company called Landmark and learned a lot of methodology about how to support people in not only building businesses, but accomplishing whatever they wanted to. So I started working with little companies like hairdressing salons and title companies, and I can't even remember all of them, little ones though. I did it for 28 years, and I um, started working with banks. One of the banks that I worked with became one of the top 100 companies to work for Fortune magazines, and then, they were also on the Investor Business Daily Top 70 stock picks at the same time. No company had ever done that, and they did that for 3 years. And so, I was able to work with them to build a culture and have the financial, um, uh, success that would enable them to do both things. So, when I started having those kinds of results, I got a lot of business, not just in the United States, but overseas. I worked in Nigeria, in Germany, in Israel, in England, the Caribbean, Mexico, Canada, never in Asia, not in Australia, but a lot of places. Such a rewarding thing, very.
I feel that there's a lot of strength coming from you and a lot of wisdom, but what do you think you brought to the table for all of these businesses to make them so successful?
Well, it started with integrity. I mean, people, uh, everybody thinks they have integrity, and I'm not saying people don't. There are a lot of people who do, but there's a certain discovering integrity, like doing what you said you were gonna do, the way you said you were gonna do it, when you said you were gonna do it, and people have excuses for not. And so when I started working with them, we worked on making sure that they did that, did what they said they were gonna do when they said they were gonna do it, and if they didn't, they dealt with the consequences instead of made excuses. That was one of the things that they just stopped doing. It wasn't easy to get them to do that, especially I love people in Nigeria, but especially in Nigeria, it was difficult. And we took one bank in Nigeria from the 15th largest bank to the 3rd largest bank in the country with that one distinction. So that's a lot more than just what everybody thinks integrity is. It's not morality. It's really honoring your word. And then communication was a big part of it. You create everything through communication. So we developed cultures and practices in communication, like making promises to each other, holding each other to account. I retired from that 10 years ago, so I'm no longer doing it, but I did it for 28 years, and, uh, it's not a magic pill, and it's not like nobody ever went backwards, and there's certain circumstances that do. But I can say the majority of my clients were highly successful.
You know, there you said one thing that I think a lot of my clients struggle with, and that is holding people accountable.
Mhm.
And it's not just them, it's their people, their employees too.
Yeah. Mm.
And don't you think people struggle with that? Like the boss struggles to hold their people, their direct reports accountable.
Yes, and what we've discovered in the work that I did was that people think that if they have a good enough excuse, they don't have to honor their word. Like if the babysitter was late, or I didn't get paid on time, or it's bad weather, or the roads, whatever, it could be anything. And there are valid excuses, but there are ways of honoring your word and doing what you said and not having the excuses get in the way. And I did a lot of work with people on that. And that was just the beginning. Once you do that, once you have that kind of structure in, then things start working. It's an upward spiral. Things really start working. So it was a lot of holding people's feet to the fire without being horrible to them. You know,
I know how you do that. It's like, yeah, I'm hard on my clients. So tell me, who was your favorite client in all those years? Who was your favorite client or clients?
I can't say I had a favorite. I have my very best friends were clients. So you get close to those people because we talked about everything. And they definitely are some of my favorites. I have companies that I'm very proud of that I became close to and really loved them, like a bank I worked with in Nigeria for 9 years. So it wasn't you just went in there and it was done in a year. It takes time to build and have everybody buy into a culture and have it work. But, I'm very proud of what we did there. I have some godchildren there and still good friends, and I haven't worked there in years, 10 years. So, I don't have a favorite. I loved all of them. Some of them were really difficult, some were easy. They were people, you know?
And so you met a very special person in all of this working and consulting. Who was that?
I'm not sure who you're referring to.
Uh,
My husband?
that
I met him.
guy you're living with. Tell me,
Yeah.
how did you meet him and what was the attraction?
Well, I was
No,
leading it.
to this podcast, by the way. So just
The he knows. I've told a lot of people this story. I was leading a team of people with a program that I was doing at Landmark, and he walked in the room and sat next to me, and he felt so familiar. My husband is very good looking, and so all the other girls were looking at him too. And he was sitting next to me, and I just thought, like, I know this guy. Just felt really, really familiar. And he was on the team that weekend, and he stared at me all weekend. I'm like, is he ever going to ask me out? What's he going to do? So he didn't. So I asked him out, and we went to a wedding, and he caught the garter, and I knew I was going to marry him on our first date.
love that story. I love that story. And it's funny how and I understand, there are some people that you meet and it's like that you must have met them in another life or something. I don't know. But that
Well, when he was young, someone told him, I don't know if it was a psychic, I don't know, I don't think he would have gone to a psychic, but he said your wife's name is gonna be Rebecca, and someone told him that when he was really young, so maybe he was just looking for Rebecca, I don't know.
yeah, married a long time now, like how many years?
38 years.
So that person
He's my 3rd husband too, my 3rd one. I said, "You're not getting out of this alive."
oh, that's good. So you've done some work with your husband now also in real estate. So what
Yeah.
what did that look like?
That's where we get along the best is when we're working together. We build luxury homes. We've flipped, I can't even remember how many homes. And our entire marriage, we've built and remodeled and designed homes, houses. So we're the one we live in. We built and I designed it and he built it.
And so you're still pretty heavily involved in real estate in Colorado, right? So
I
what are you doing there?
I was just installed as the president of the board of realtors here. Jeff and I are still investing in property. I take listings, but mostly I'm working a lot with legislation and the realtors here in Estes Park. I'm in Estes Park, Colorado, and supporting them and being successful and running the board.
You've done an awful lot in business and in a lot of different areas of business. There's a lot of different types of business you know about, which we know that helps you to be a great chapter chair. Um, do you have any disciplines that you want to share with business owners? Because this podcast is really for people to listen and learn. Like I would rather not make a mistake because I heard about somebody else's mistake and learn from it. So, what would you suggest people do to have a better discipline?
Well, there's so many, but I think, uh, if people can wrap their head around your words create your reality. So if you decided you wanted to build a business or start a business, it started with you talking about it and enrolling other people in either lending you money or working with you, creating a strategic plan or buying a building. It all got created in language, every bit of it. And so some of us are really casual about what we say. Like, "Oh, I just feel exhausted," or, "I can never do that." And and I think a lot of people relate to what they say lightly, and it's it's really sets you back when you start to believe some of that self-talk that undermines what you're building. If you listen to any of the gurus who are self-help and they all say the same thing, and they work a lot on your internal conversation with you. But in a business sense, you have to be the person if you're building a business, you have to be the person who relates the vision and continues to do it and continues to support people and being great and knowing that they are. And sometimes you get the wrong person in the seat, but I think a lot of people are a product of how you think of them and what you say to them. I know my husband is. He's totally my creation. Yes.
I love it. I think that's great. Um, now that's kind of the premise for Landmark, isn't it? Is
Yes,
well,
it is.
uh,
It is a
what
lot of it. That's but I when I worked with Irene, that was the same thing, and then Landmark just has a lot of methodology for people to not only have their businesses work, but their lives and their relationships and their health. And I have so many miracles I could share from having led programs there. Loads. I could write a book.
Yeah. In running a business, I know I sent a couple of employees to Landmark and they felt it was very helpful and successful for them. So kudos to Landmark if you're still out there, which I think you are.
They are.
Yeah,
I no longer work for them. I retired some years ago, but they're the
good. So is there anything that you wish you had done sooner?
um, anything I wish I'd done sooner. I suppose I would have started my consulting firm sooner, although I sold it. I spent some years, thinking about it, you know, and I could have started it. And then I was working for another consulting firm. I wish I would have left sooner. I probably left 4 years after I should have. You don't just because you get a lot of information doesn't mean it's all perfect. You have to deal with stuff, and there were a lot of concerns I had about, "Can I do it?" But then you just step out into the void and go, "Okay, well, I'm gonna figure it out," and did.
Yeah. Which, so this is one thing that I feel about you. I feel you're very brave and that you're very confident in what you're doing and what you're saying, which I think really comes through and helps being a WPO chapter chair. I think that makes a difference with the way, I haven't seen you run your chapter, but I do think that that's a valuable part of what you give to your business owners in your chapter, is you know, that bravery. Um, so
Well, it helps to have people believe in you. I mean, I think that's one of the things as a chapter chair that we offer is not there's a lot that WPO and the chairs offer, but that you have a group of people and a chair that believes in you It just bolsters you up because when you're a business owner, you're out there but on your own. There's nobody like you.
Yes.
And you might have your husband say you're great, but you know they're going to say you're great. So and it's not just that. It's just believing in uh their ability to accomplish what, and they accomplish amazing things. But sometimes we just doubt ourselves and we're not sure, and we need a sounding board,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
heard too many members talk about the imposter syndrome, and when they began, that's what they felt. And participating in a great peer group like WPO helps them realize that they're not an imposter. They're really good at what they're doing. So, as a chapter chair, what are some of the challenging issues that you see?
As a chapter chair, one of the challenging issues, well, they're all so busy. So I've worked with a few of my members. They all come in and they're too busy. I mean, they're just always too busy. And I've worked with a number, not a number, a few of my members who have transitioned out of their businesses. They've sold them or they retired. And before they did, every one of them was able to do what they wanted to in life. They had plenty of time. But when you have people coming in, they're in a reality like it is this way. And it's not that way. There's ways to manage your business so that you can accomplish the things you want to do, like time with your family and vacations and getting massages. And, one woman I'm thinking of now, she came in and she said, I can't take a day off. And one of my members, Carly, who you interviewed, she said, I take a month off a year and I only work so many days a week. And this woman was like, what? So ultimately, what happened, she was a member probably for 8 years. Ultimately, she took more than a month off. She started working 4 days a week. Her business grew and grew and grew and grew. She sold her business to an employee, and she's now retired, and she's younger than you and I. So she's just amazing. And so you can't just come in and think, well, it's all going to happen all at once. It doesn't, but it can. And I think with WPO and the other women in the chapters, there's enough genius there to have you accomplish what you want to accomplish in your business.
Yeah. So I'm going to say there are a couple of people that I've already interviewed on this podcast that talk about how they didn't really start appreciating the growth and the success of the business until they got that good leadership team. And that's when they turn the corner.
Yeah,
And you do, and I know I did it myself, and I did have to take a month off for medical reasons, but, it's one of those you can if you have the right people with you, so that's good. Uh,
that takes some time, you got to finesse it a lot, but it's important,
it
like you said.
it is, and you don't always have the right people on the right seats initially, but, I remember a transition from a bad controller to a really good controller, and it was like the sky opened up and the birds were singing and the sun was shining, and it's like, "Oh, this is what heaven feels like." It's free.
Yeah, it's one of my clients was a manufacturer. She's one of my best friends in Detroit through the whole recession. I did it for a long time and it was awful. And she had the wrong people and she did not know how she's going to pull herself out. And she got the right people. And boy, did they grow through that whole time when the car manufacturing companies were tanking and it was just awful. She grew and grew and grew and grew. And now she's retired and business is still running, and she had to have the right people, though. It took her a long time.
Yeah. Well, a lot of great success stories come from WPO, which it makes me so happy. What makes you a great chapter chair? And I know I have heard one of your members talk about how much she knows you care about her.
Well, I think that's probably it. I just really do care and want them to be. I just so believe in you can create your life. I mean, it's just a non question for me. And when people come into the chapter, I listen to them like, "We're doing this, and you can do this, and, we're doing it with you." And, there's people go through these women have gone through everything you can imagine, as you probably know in your chapters, everything comes up.
Yes.
And there's, their families and their husbands and their parents and their hiring and firing and, all the stuff with the COVID thing and just a whole bunch of stuff. And you just put a stake in the ground and it's like it's going one way. We're just talking like it's going one way. And it's not airy fairy at all. I mean, there's plans you make and there's things you do and you run it by the chapter members and finesse it and listen to them. So it's like I said, it's not a panacea, but it is a way of supporting so that you have the tools you need to build your business.
Yeah, so WPO, we talk about it, it's like having a board. How many strategic conversations would you say your group has on a regular basis?
Well, it depends on what you mean by strategic. We don't do strategic plans with them, but there's things that happen, especially when they first come in. I can, because I've worked with over 500 companies, I can hear things they're doing or thinking that is like, if you just did this or you just did that, and we'll run it by everybody. And they start to go, oh, wow. I can think of one woman, she's been in the chapter for a while. She's not like this now, but she just wasn't straight with her employees. You can't build a business if you're not straight. You got to be really straight.
They have to be,
That's just one thing.
they trust you, you trust them. It has to work both ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you talked about having a platinum group. What does that
Yes.
look like?
Well, I would like to have a platinum group. Platinum members are 10 million and over. You don't have to go into a platinum group, but when you have a bigger business like that, there's different things that you deal with, different problems, different issues, different scaling, different hiring. And there's different kinds of strategies that you would have if you want to continue to grow. I mean, in the beginning, it depends on the type of business. It's easy to grow your business. After it's a certain size, you're going to run up against a ceiling if you don't expand and know the way to do it. So the platinum chapter support women in doing that. And I think I would, well, I know I would. I'd like to do that. And they meet 3 times a year. Our chapters, the local chapters meet once a month.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a client that says new level, new devil. And really, when you hit 10 million, depending upon the type of business, you can't do everything anymore.
No. Well, even at 5 million, you shouldn't be doing everything anymore. You need a support system under you. Otherwise, you are the lid in the business.
Yeah.
You are the total lid.
Yeah. So, are there any books that you talk about in your chapter that you recommend?
Well, right now I'm reading the AI.
I know you recommended that one back there, the
Which one?
drama free man.
Free management.
I don't know who wrote that. Some brilliant. Sorry.
Well, there's so many. I'm right now reading The AI Driven Leader by Jeff Geoff Wolf.
Yes.
One of my members is reading The Power of Now, which helps people stay so centered. She said, I'm just not the same person reading that book. I mean, I could send a long list. There's many, many books that I've read. From Peter Senge way back to, things that happening now.
Yeah. So our groups talk about traction a lot. I don't
Yeah.
if you do, but I know that we do, and I know I used those processes before the book ever came out, so it's not anything new. What do you want the next 5 years of your life to look like?
Well, I'm going to be president of the real estate board here for 2 years, and I just got installed. I've been on the board for 3 years already. So, I'll be doing that. We have a house in Arizona and I want to spend more time there because I live in Colorado. In February, it's windy and cold, so I wanna spend time in I'm not young anymore, so I'm not, like, ambitious to I don't need to. I'm just doing it because I love it, and I wanna stay agile and healthy and engaged and relevant, and you gotta stay engaged.
Yeah. And you're good at it. Like, do
Thanks.
you feel if you quit helping people in business, you're actually taking something away from people?
Uh, do I feel that way? I never thought I felt that way. I just have, one of my mottos I have several, but one of my mottos is find a need and fill it. So I noticed there was a need here to do that, so I did that, and because I can, and I do think I'm not undermining myself. I do think, like Irene Hunter contributed to me, I know I have something to contribute, and it's not me personally. I learned it all. It's not something I was born with. So I have that, and I wanna give it away.
I think that's so wonderful, because I know I have grown from your wisdom and just we have chapter chair pods, and I've learned so much from you because you're just so wise. Uh,
Thank you.
I want to know what are your other mottos since you mentioned that.
Well, I have one for my family. We're a happy, healthy, loving, and wealthy family living a miraculous life. And that is something that I say all the time. Happy, healthy, loving, and wealthy family living a miraculous life. And we are a happy, healthy, health is so important. And I see people my age that aren't, and I work a lot on my health, and I think that's important at any age. Another one is I always have more than enough money for everything I want and need. I didn't when I was little. We were poor. And I was afraid of being poor. And then I realized, well, I can stop being afraid and just create that I'm always have more than enough money for everything I want and need. And then I have which I won't share, but I do have how I create my husband. I say who he is to me and to him often. And he knows that he cannot fail around me. He doesn't and he can't. And I think a lot of men worry about failing. He doesn't worry about it. But then we don't worry much, but he doesn't worry about it.
I love that. I love that because you're giving people the words, like you said in business, you're giving yourself words in your life that help create that future. Your the words are your power, and you're using those words to create and maintain your future. You said one thing too that stuck with me because I have a friend going through a big challenge right now, and you said you're very loyal to your friends. Um, and what does that mean to you? Because I like what you told me about that, and I'm going to use what you said, but I want everybody else to hear it.
Well, I don't know what I said to you. I probably was talking to you, but I am, fri I lost a daughter in 1991. She died in a plane crash. She was 16 years old. And the gift of that is that I know how precious life is. And not many people come into your life and become your friends. And I'm just moved by that right now. My friends are my life and my family. And my friends, I have a lot of friends, and some are very close and some not so close, but it doesn't mean they're far away. So everybody's precious. So when they're not well or they have something going on, I think it's important to be a friend
Yeah.
because it's not going to last forever.
Yeah, that's true. That's
It's not. But we're here now and we can do the best we can. My word for this year, which is I'm the oldest of 8, so I happen to be pretty bossy. And my word for this year, I have a word every year. And this year, my word is kindness. And it's really been challenging because people are so angry right now. And so I'm working on being kind as kind as I can. It doesn't mean I'm gonna be milquetoast or, roll over and play dead, but, um, I think that, with your friends and just with people in general, being kind is important, especially now. I don't remember people being so angry as they are now.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I'm amazed at the behavior, but I think that's a good word. I think that's a very good word. And you moved me to a tissue. Oh gosh. Yeah, is there a question that I should have asked you but I didn't?
What do I like about WPO?
There you go. What do you like
Yeah.
about WPO?
Um, I'm glad that Marsha Firestone started WPO to give women a platform to build their business with other women and engage with other women the way we do. I know there are other uh, peer advisory groups. There are lots of them, but WPO is probably the largest professional women's organization in the world. And we have access to women of all creeds, races, ethnicity, income levels, family sizes, ages, and no one is afraid to share whatever they have. They're all willing to share what they've learned, what they know, what they have, and it's really inspiring. And when we go to our conferences once a year, the energy there is so powerful, isn't it? And it's so uplifting. It's hard to describe.
Yeah. The energy in the room and in the hallways, I just it lifts me up and I think it lasts me for at least a month after the conferences. It's just so powerful. I wasn't always able to go to the conferences when I was a member. Now that I'm a chapter chair, I can, but wow, it is a real powerful experience. So,
It is.
and I'm going to say, because of WPO, I went on a safari in South Africa that was arranged by a WPO member who now has her own travel company in addition to her PR company, which is what she started with. That's what she joined WPO with. But
Yeah.
we convinced her, take us on a safari, and now she's taken us to many different places. So yeah, yeah, the next trip is India.
Wow, great. That's wonderful. Wow, I bet the safari was amazing.
It was on my bucket list, and so somebody from WPO made that happen. There are so many great things that come out of WPO. Of course, first business, but then you get these relationships with other really strong women. And you just said one thing that I think I can relate to. You're controlling. Yes, we are. Not everybody out there is. But when you get in a room with a bunch of other controlling people, we kind of understand that about each other.
Yeah,
And it's okay.
it's okay. Yeah,
I love it.
and they're so knowledgeable too. It's not just controlling. They know a lot. So,
I do.
it's a group of women, but, one of my members said, and you probably heard this before, but she said, "If I am the smartest woman in the room, I need to be in another room." So everybody's super smart, and they're smarter than me, and it's just great to learn from them. I've learned so much from them, and they learn from each other, and it's just so inspiring. I can't imagine not being around people like that. That's so gratifying.
I agree. I just want to go back to one thing, and that's processing issues. Can you explain how your group processes issues at the meetings?
Yeah, we have what was called the peer review sessions, and, we usually get to everybody who has something they wanna work on. It doesn't have to be serious, it doesn't have to be a big problem, it could be something simple or it could be something major. So we run the gamut, but, they state the issue, whatever it is, and then there are clarifying questions that the women ask so that we make sure we've got the right issue. And then, it doesn't always happen, I have to rein people in sometimes, but it's not to give them advice, it's to share your experience. And there are women who have some similar experience always in the room, unless they have an expertise in it. Like if they have a legal question, we have a lawyer in our chapter. She freely shares. But uh yes, so they share their experience, and I make sure I listen for, are they coming up with some actions they can take? Doesn't always solve the problem, but that's not the point. I think these women are smart enough to solve their own problems, but sometimes they want some input to see a direction for themselves. And I always think that when they come up with the solutions themselves, are better solutions than anybody can tell them the solutions. So that's basically how it works.
I'd have to say, though, when we start discussing and when we start doing the peer review, I learn something every single time, which is like, I've been in business a long time, but
Yeah,
I get a new idea and a new way of doing something every single time, which I think is
that's great.
wonderful.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I'm just always inspired by what they come up with. And then sometimes they come back and they haven't resolved it, or so some of them are short, some of them are long. Never know.
Yeah, but the part of it is that support while you're in that room, you talk about things and it doesn't leave that room, and at least you can get it off your shoulders what's bothering you, even though you may not be able to fix it right away. So, yeah.
And sometimes that's what I don't know about you. For me, sometimes that's all I need is just get it out, get it off my chest and go, I can breathe now. I don't have to hang on to it and gnashing my teeth over it.
Yeah, yeah, it's very true. Well, I really appreciate talking to you today. I think you're an amazing person, and whatever group you're leading is going to benefit from Becky Robbins being a chapter chair because you're brilliant. So, thank you for spending time with me today and being on her perspective.
Marla, thank you. You're the best. You said do such a great job with this. And thank you for interviewing my members as well. They loved it.
They're very good. I enjoy meeting them.
That's great. Okay.
You've been listening to Per Her Perspective. I'm your host, Marla Noel. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss what's next. To go deeper, check out my book, Drama Free Management, a practical guide to moving teams from high drama and low performance to low drama and exciting results. To connect with me, visit my website, ocgrowthadvisors.com. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and perspective.